It's showtime. There we go. Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is a Place at Home Coach's Corner, and we're doing an owner spotlight today. Dina Jenney of Main Line, Pennsylvania. I almost said Mainland. Main Line, Pennsylvania. Dina, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We're not going to make this awkward. You and I have a different type of relationship than most people. We talk crap. You're my Northeast. I'm the Midwest. We're going to have fun today, but I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. Are you ready to go?
Okay. Yeah, we're Super Bowl champions here. We're ready for everything.
Yes, you are. I was actually going for the Eagles. So
really?
Yeah. I'm not a Chiefs fan. I am not a Chiefs fan. I'm a Colts fan, which we're terrible. So maybe one day we'll get back to action. But right now, the Eagles are flying high, and they look like they're going to have a really good team next year again. So they have a little dynasty going. But we're not here to talk NFL. We're here to talk about home care and ownership and your story. You're coming up on your 4th year in May. I know we've always messed those dates up. Am I correct? Is it May? Is it written down?
May 24th.
May 24th will be your 4th year mark. You're over that $1 million mark. You've gone under the $1 million mark. You've gone over the one. You're just $1 million agency. You're there. We're going to find out your goals for this year. But I want to jump right into a little background. You came to us 4 years ago. I'll never forget your discovery day. I think politics got brought up and cleared the room at one point in time. And we still came together and had a great time. Did we not?
From all sides, we came together.
You remember that?
Yeah, it was a great trip, actually. It was a great trip out there. We had a phenomenal time.
Yeah, it was awesome. And 4 years later, you're rocking and rolling, but I want to go back to what made you come to that discovery day. But before you go into that, what got you interested in senior care? If you want to share your story on why you got into it, that'd be great.
Yeah, of course. So right before COVID started, when COVID started, I lost my job as an office manager. And it was also the same year I had a big birthday. So I just a lot of things came together at once, and I knew it was time to try to do something on my own. But being in the senior space was important to me because we had my father-in-law lived with us for a long time, and I helped to care for my mother-in-law when she was local. And so I had a lot to do with it from a consumer perspective, and it was very easy to see that it was an area that needs people, that needs help. It's an industry that's growing, and it's also something really meaningful. And so all those things kind of came together at once for me. And 4 years later, here we are.
I know. I had the pleasure of meeting your mom. Lovely human being, by the way. How is she?
I forgot you met her. She's good. She's good. It's been a crazy year, but she's doing well.
I'm sure. Well, that's your inspiration to start here. Now, I'm going to share a little story about you and I. We got into you chose a place home. I'm going to share our story after that here, and you'll know where I'm going to go with this.
I know where this is going. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But what made you come to Discovery Day? Why a place at home? How did you start with a place at home?
You're unbelievable. Well, I looked at a lot of different companies. I did. I looked at small companies, big companies. And the reason that a place at home was such a good fit is because at the time, and even now, we're small enough to be personal and small, but we're big enough to be a bigger company. Like, we're growing at the speed of light, which I knew was going to happen 4 years ago. And I wanted a company that was cutting edge and new, but also there were other less expensive options. But I came to find out that was they'll mail you a box of DVDs or something and say, there's your business in a box. So I came out, you and Jared, and, the rest was history. You never could compare to a box of DVDs, Dustin.
No, you can't box me up. You can try. My wife tries all the time, but she knows. Can't box it up. But with that being said, I remember that story vividly on the DVDs. You're the only franchise owner to date and prospect to date, I believe, where Jared and I both said, what is she doing? both of us got on the phone and we're like, Dina, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And sold you hard, and
Mm-hmm.
showed you that we cared. You came here, signed it. The rest is history. And you've
Wait,
done
you're leaving out one little detail though.
what?
Do you remember how you sold me hard? Just come out here,
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you don't do it, I'll pay for your plane ticket, because you were so sure that I was going to do it.
Darn right.
So all you new owners out there, just working there for that plane ticket.
Did you just offer free plane tickets? Well, the good thing is virtual discovery days are the thing now, so I don't have to worry about that.
It would have been worth the trip even if I had to pay for it. It was well worth it. It was a life changer for me.
It was great. And then you started. We came out there. We partied. We hit the streets. We had your grand opening. And I want to go back to your first year and talk about that, because your first year is way different than year 2 through 4. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. Just a little.
Yeah. First year. So what were some of the biggest high points of your first year?
I think just like,
It was three years ago. So if you can remember the high points.
I mean, I think just kind of like riding a bike, almost like, look, I'm doing it. I think that was the high point. Like when all the decisions were made about, business decisions like phone systems and whatever. I think then when we really had a few clients, and I really saw like, hey, what I'm doing is actually like what I'm doing and my team is doing is actually helping people. Like we're actually taking care of people here. And I think that alone, just the whole like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. And I'm part of something bigger that helps people. I think just overall, that was a huge win. It was also during COVID, so nothing was operating normally at that time. So it was also, I felt very much from the beginning like I was a part of solutions for people at a time when people really needed solutions. Absolutely. And so this is always meaningful work, and that's what sustains it all the time, is that it's meaningful. That's the biggest win. A year ago, at the beginning, now that's always the biggest win.
Absolutely. The impacts that you make. You shared with me. You're still with your longest tenure client, or did they quit, or did they pass away? I can't remember.
She passed away last weekend.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
I know, I didn't tell you yet. And she was my number one. No, gosh, no, it's fine. But yeah. Man. I really took that one hard. We're gonna miss her.
Yeah, she was with you for 4 years. So, well, not to get emotional.
It was a success story in the end, though. That client was a real success story. She started with just a few hours of care, and over time, really, her trust in us really grew. And she saw that we really cared about her well-being. We're close to her family. Like it really, it was an example of how home care can really help someone. Like she really made a big difference in her life.
Absolutely. And she got to pass away at home, right?
Almost. At the last minute, she was not at home, but she got to remain home until the end of her life, and that was her goal.
Well, that's good. See, that is a meaningful business.
It was
emotional business
in particular. It's very emotional. Not for the weak-hearted.
No, it's not. You become a trusted advisor. You get attached to 3 years, 4 years with a client. You become their buddy, their confidant, right? So it's tough. And that's why you do what you do. And that's why the caregivers do what they do too, right? It takes a special person to be that caregiver. So I hope that caregiver who's there is doing well as well. But flipping over to your challenges, what do you remember about your first year challenges?
Well, again, during COVID, it's like hands down the first year, the biggest challenge was staffing. And it still to this day is probably one of the biggest challenges. But during COVID, it was especially bad. I mean, we would schedule like 10 interviews for caregivers in a week, and not one would show up. It was really bad during COVID. And then you would see things that just like a caregiver would just no call, no show on like a bedbound client, or like, I mean, it really, like the things that happened a few years ago were really, really made things difficult.
Yeah. COVID was a thing. And
You hear that noise? I'm sorry. Is that echoing on your end too, or it's just here?
no, not on my end.
Okay.
Yeah, COVID, anyone who started in COVID, it was a challenge. We came stronger from it. We got pretty good at it. Everyone built a backbone. Speaking of like hiring practices, we made a lot of investments as a brand, to with employ and everything like that to try to solve that. I do feel though this year it's a little bit better. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. First of all, I mean, it's the climate, the climate of just people and work has changed probably, 5 times since then. I mean, what to expect is, it's a toss up every day, but we got really good support from corporate too. I think during that time we all talked a lot about, a lot of it is, just like not feeling like you're alone in it. And so I think being part of something bigger, and having other owners to talk to about it and having headquarters support with hiring, I think was all, helpful in staying successful during all of that. Like we had a lot of support from each other and from you guys at corporate.
Yeah, thank you.
It has turned around a lot now, but it's still far from perfect. I mean, it's still, we still have people that no show interviews, and it's still a weird.
Do you ever do group interviews?
I've tossed that around, and we've talked to other. I've actually talked about doing job fairs with other agencies. None of it's happened yet, but it could.
So like they get hired by 2 different agencies just to kind of partner up so that they can maximize hours. Is that the intent?
Something like that. Kind of like along the lines of like, look, we know that you're working for multiple agencies. Like some caregivers come in like almost afraid to tell you that they're working for multiple agencies. And I feel like why not be upfront about it? Like everyone knows that you're working for multiple agencies, and that's fine. I don't care. As long as you show up for my clients when you need to be there, work for 10 agencies. So we thought, like, I have maybe a quarterly brunch with a couple of other owners in the area. And we kind of thought, like, why don't we host a collaborative job fair where people can come in and apply with 4 agencies at once. We get great turnout, and, then we get 4 times as many, then we each get 4 times as many applicants if there's 4 agencies. So we've talked about collaborating, and like I said, it hasn't actually happened because somebody has to organize it. But
how would you work out the whole who gets like first dibs, whoever has the most hours, or like?
Well, I don't know. We didn't kind of figure it out all the way, but I guess like if I'm a caregiver, right, and I come to a job fair and there's 4 agencies there, I'll do the paperwork for all 4 while I'm there, knock out all the birds with one stone or whatever, and then, choose from whichever agency has the hours that you want, or the client that you want, or the location, or the, and then maybe when that client, then you're at least on call with 3 other agencies. It's like a win-win for the agency and the caregiver.
Sure. No, I mean, it's a good concept. It's no different than really sharing clients back in, like talking about COVID, where we had to like share clients with other agencies just so we can make sure everyone was covered. So not a bad idea. Let me know how that goes.
I will. It actually was an idea that came out of the Care Coalition. I mean, people in the senior space have to be able to work together and stop thinking of each other as competition, because people are living longer, and the competition isn't what's out there. It's competition for staff. And so like agencies need to band together to figure these things out and come up with more collaborative ways to do things. Because what's going to happen when you and I need care? Like, it's kind of a catastrophe in the making, and we need to get ahead of it now.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think immigration is a good way for the future, not to go down that route. But you guys, and I still owe an email out, and I apologize. I'll send that right after this. But we have, you guys have a new collaboration going out with you, Jessica Dale, and Nalima have committed to go to D.C. and lobby on behalf of immigration reform for home care work visas. And I hope that the HCOA and you guys take it and storm over there. Explain. That's right. So, and it's fun.
Women when you know something needs to get done.
Yes.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Yes. No. I thought of you 3 immediately. The loudest voices of the system. Minus Jessica. Yeah, see, there's Malima right there commenting. No, you guys would
I
be
can't
great.
even see it.
And if you've never lobbied, it's fun. It's kind of a rat race. You're running all over the place. And now Jessica Dale just got known, and she just posted this. Can you see this when I do this?
Oh, there. Now I did. Yeah.
Cat's out of the bag.
I didn't know Nalima was definite either. I know you said you were going to talk to her. I didn't know is that a definite?
Yeah, she's on here. What?
Oh, there she is.
There she is. So great time, and you'll have a nice impact. So I can't wait to hear about that. Moving on, I want to talk about your growth and setbacks a little bit, because you had to, and we don't need to get into the year, but you had some setbacks this year, but we're reinvigorated and ready to go. Yep. But going into year 2 and 3 as a home care agency, how did your organizational structure change? That's one of the biggest messages from us nowadays is that org chart and hiring people, the right people for the right seats, so that you guys are set up for that growth. Because in the last year and a half or so, we've had a lot of agencies hit that $1 million mark, and then they just flatline because we just don't have the right. I would say it's not having the support you need. You have support from us, but the support you need in your inner office to take that next step. So how has your organizational structure changed since year 1 and 2 to today, so that it can support that growth? And we'll talk about your goal for this year later, but to support that growth to get to your goal this year.
Excuse me. I would see, let me think. The first year I hired a care coordinator about 6 months in, and that was, I should have done it sooner. I waited until I was, like at the end of my rope and before deciding that I needed some help. And for quite a while, it was me and one other person. And that worked out for a good while. But then over time, it became apparent that we needed a third person. So we brought on a third person part-time initially that then worked her way into full-time. And actually now that said person, who's our star care coordinator, has actually just been promoted to an HR role. So we are actually in the process of interviewing for a new care coordinator. So right now, hanging right around the $1 million mark, I would say that we have myself and 2 full-time people in the office, and then, then our care staff. And we've gone back and forth with a lead caregiver.
Sure.
And so someone that we're interviewing for the care coordinator role is also a CNA. So I'm not sure what that might look like.
Awesome. So you're building that org chart to support you to get to the next step, which I want to jump into your future goals here. You've crossed the $1 million revenue mark. You are now ready to roll. What's driving this new renewed energy? Why this year is the year that you're going to take it to? I don't even know what is your goal. Let's just get that out of the bag so we can start talking about that for next year. Revenue-wise.
That's the problem. My goals aren't exactly clear right now.
Okay. So I'm going to have to talk to Shane, your coach, about that, which he's going to be joining us here shortly.
Well, it's not his fault that my goals aren't clear.
Oh, I know. Shane's a pusher of goals. I'm sure it's been.
It's not on him. It's on me.
Are you neglecting Shane? Should we just bring Shane in now? Let's bring him in.
Yeah, there you go. I want to see. I haven't seen him since his shoulder, actually. Hey, you still have your shoulder?
Yep, it's still there.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing well.
Good.
Yep.
So since your goals aren't clear, I think it's a good time right now that we have Shane here, who's worked with you for a while. Shane, what do you think's Dina's ceiling this year? She's around that $1 million mark, but if you were to make her goals for her, which we never do, we want owners to make their own goals. We push them to maximize their potential and exceed their goals. But if you were to make her goal today, what do you think that Dina's office in mainline Philadelphia could achieve?
She right now is set up to really surpass the 1.8 to 2 million. She's ramping up her staff. So she's in a really good position right now.
Ryan. But it's I'm kind of torn between growth here or expansion. I'm torn between the two. That's why my goal, like, that's why I said it's not Shane's fault. My goal isn't clear. I just can't, I'm just torn between focusing 100% on growing Philadelphia or expanding into other areas. So
Well, I think they go hand in hand though. So there should be no reason you couldn't get to that 1.8 million and expand at the same time if you have the right people in Philadelphia. So I think
that's where that's the goal. I mean, what you just said, that's actually the goal.
There you go. So
people in place.
Let's say, all right. So expansion goals. Do you want to talk about your expansion goals? Are you comfortable with where we're talking about that now?
Yeah.
So what's the goal of expansion?
Well, I've been spending a lot of time in West Palm Beach, and we own a condo there. So ultimately, I would love to. My goal is to open up an office in West Palm Beach, and it's not really even a goal. It's not a if, it's a when and how. So I'm just kind of working on what that looks like right now, like trying to grow Philadelphia, keep it solid, and then, taking steps towards a second office in Florida.
Awesome. So Florida, here we come, Sunshine State. Now,
yeah.
And even Shane's from Florida, and he knows what it takes to be successful in Florida. So I'm going to ask this. I'm going to go off the script here. You knew the script was only going to be here for a second, and then I'm going to go off a bit. So going off script here, you have your coach here. You have you here with your expansion goals. Shane has done multi-unit expansion through his previous career, right? Shane, what is it going to take for her to make Philadelphia successful other than the people, having the right people? But when would you predict when she has that lined out, what does that look like between her office in Florida, her office in Philadelphia? What does Dina need to have in place to be successful with both? To make her dream true.
I know you said outside of people, but it's team is going to be the biggest thing. So she's got to have the right team, the right seats on the bus in Philly and as in Florida. And then she really takes it from the perspective of managing both from a different level, is having their, almost like an executive team that's running either the two different positions. And then you have it where you're scaling into the next office. Did we just lose her?
We did lose her. She got so excited she jumped up, but she's jumping back in.
The excitement. She's like, I did not want to hear that. I'm stale.
No, I don't know what happened. My connection was staticky, and then all of a sudden you were gone. I apologize.
Oh, that's all right. Go ahead, Shane. You were talking about the team. Sorry. I said she got so excited she jumped off. She jumped on a plane to Florida.
A lot of it's going to be scaling the team. As she's a great marketer. It's one of the strengths that Dina has outside of operations. She's going to have to know what her limitations are and put people in place that are going to be able to fill those very necessary seats. So she can't be in two places at once. So trusting the team in Philly and trusting the team in Florida as she builds up the scale. I think easily either one of them can be the number one position. I know that South Florida for her is going to be a big growth when she flips that switch. But I believe with the right people in Philly, she definitely can hit that $1.82 million mark and really grow at scale. So, and then it's just like systems. They're not just people, but you're going to need processes and systems in play to make that happen in a dual role there. So, and that way eliminates her. Right now she's taking her flight back and forth and marketing right now, in which, hey, she moved to Florida and then her business starts growing. And so it's like, maybe that's the key is Dina's not in Philly anymore. But no, from a coaching perspective, she's found her new energy to go at Philly, and I think that same cadence that she has, she'll bring to South Florida.
Awesome. How far is West Palm Beach from you, Shane, in Jacksonville?
Be almost 5 hours. It's about 4.5 hours.
Great.
Yeah.
So Dina, we could probably sublease Shane out a little bit. You can pay me for it a little bit. No, I'm
Yeah, you
kidding.
know, just sitting here waiting for a visit from anyone.
May 14th. May 14th.
Okay.
I want to figure out how far are you from Somerville? Because we're going out to meet Jessica, right?
Yeah, we already have it. We already have this all planned. Jessica and I have a halfway meeting point that we've already established. So don't you worry.
Well, I want to, if I can, I want to make an accomplishment to see her location for a few days and then jump down to Philly and see your location.
Nice.
Pack it in.
Yeah, love it. And
All
she's
right.
she has a new fancy office, I think, too, right? I think so.
She has a very nice office.
Yeah.
And she has a new team.
Mm-hmm.
She has a new team and or not new team, but she's growing her team as well. So
yeah.
You guys are neck and neck, ready to go. Not to start a little competition between New Jersey and Philly, but I will. All right. So I got really all your goals here. Oh, let's talk about the advice of Dina. We're going to switch the tone here and go over to what advice would Dina give? And I'm going to ask some questions on Dina's advice. Are you ready? Again, I'll script here a little bit. I'm going to start with the one that I already told you I was going to ask you. But any newcomer coming to look at the industry, what advice would you give them?
Coming to look at the industry as in coming in as an owner?
Not of a place at home, but just coming into the in-home care industry. What advice would you give anyone looking to come into the industry? What should they be prepared for?
I'm just trying to think. I know what I want to say. I'm just trying to think of the right way to say it. Like, don't, Mia says it the best. Like, don't get too attached to anything because things change like moment by moment. So you can't, like, it's very hard to like have protocols and rules and things when you're dealing with humans all the time. It's a human business. And so you can never really, like, each case is different and you have to always be prepared to like, don't get married to your schedule because it will change. Like, you just always have to be flexible and prepared for anything because you literally never know from one day to the next, like what the day is going to bring. In any role in this industry.
You know, and I like that you brought up there the policies, right? You got to have policies and procedures. Most states that have licensure require that. But at the end of the day, it's such a rapid moving business and things happen that just you can't predict are going to happen. And you want to follow your rules and regs, but then there's the human side of it. For example, I'll give an example. When we got licensed in the state of Nebraska, stupidest thing. It said you're required to place, we had a home health license and did home care with it. You're required to place CNAs to do personal care in the home. All right. So let me give you the scenario. CNA calls out, I can't find a CNA, but that client needs somebody there. Regs say I need to send a CNA, but I have companions and people, a body who have done this for years, who aren't certified nursing assistants that are available to go. What would you do?
I would send I would break the rule. I would do the right thing for the client.
Because what are you going to do? Leave the client alone?
Right. That's what I mean. I would do the right thing by the client. And if I was questioned about it, I would stand up for that decision.
Yeah. And it doesn't happen a lot, but like, that's my thing. Follow your policies and procedures, follow your regs. I never give advice to go against regs, but at the end of the day, you got to use your care values in every situation and leaving that client alone. I'm either going to go there and do it myself, right? Or if I have someone to go who's seasoned in this, I'm going to send them there. I'd still try and find a CNA to replace them.
Well, of course,
but at least get someone there.
But that's the thing. Like, you can, of course, you have policies and procedures. I don't mean like we don't have them at all, but you just can't always count on following everything to a T because it doesn't always go that way. Nothing is straightforward all the time. You know, things change.
We're not saying that we don't follow regs. We follow regs.
Of course, we follow. I didn't even mean regs. I just mean in general. Like, you know, you can't say every time a client calls that, you know, wants this, we always answer with this because that's not always the case.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I didn't mean like actually not following regulations. I
I
meant
hope not. Shane, if you can put Dina on your audit list, that would
I
be
know.
great.
I was going to say, it's Shane is the auditor
my
now.
license is up for renewal. I'm good. I followed regulations. Thank you very much.
All right, going back to the what would Dina do if anyone's
Maybe not.
looking-
Maybe we should not do what would Dina do.
No, that was a good one. This is fun. I like this. We find out errors. If anyone's looking at a place at home currently in Mitch's pipeline, what would Dina give advice on when you're looking at a place at home? What should they bring to the table, or what should they be looking for?
They should be looking for what should a prospective owner be looking for?
Yeah.
I mean, they should be looking for a company that supports them in their business, a company that supports their growth and that provides like the operational support and the technical support and honestly the emotional support.
Yeah.
That's just as important because this isn't, it's not just business. It's, it's people. And so I think that a prospective owner should be looking for ways that the franchise can support them in growing their business. And as far as what they should bring to the table, if they're coming to a place at home, they have to believe in our core values or they shouldn't even bother. Like that's just straight out of the gate. Like our core values are our care philosophy, compassionate, accountable, respectful, and ethical. If you can't be those 4 things, we're not a good fit.
Absolutely. Let's see here. What would Dina do? Got nothing else. Shane, you got any? What would Dina do? I like this. There might be a new segment.
Dina do's.
Dina do's. Dina's don'ts.
Yeah, I feel like there could be a couple don'ts. I can't
Yeah.
believe you even put me on live.
It's fun. It's fun. You got a lot of engagement here. So let's see. I know you got to catch a flight. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. So let's just jump into closing it out. Well, no, let's jump in. You and Shane have been working together. I like to highlight the coaches too here. Shane and you have been working together for months. What's the biggest thing that your coach has brought to the table for you in the last 3 to 4 months?
Oh, that's so easy. He sees me as a whole person. He's not just like, what are your numbers? He's not like, well, like, why, who are you hiring? What are your numbers? Blah, blah, blah. He sees my whole picture. So he knows that like, unlike some people are all about the growth and that's fine. Some people always grow. I get it. But not all of us owners out there are in, growing is good, but I'm, and so Shane sees that whole picture and I really like that. Like he knows what my personal goals are. Like he knows, like he just knows the bigger picture. And that's really important as a coach to know the person that you're coaching as a whole person and not just as a business owner.
Awesome.
I think the big thing is not to get so analytical in our coaching. We can talk about the nickel, dimes, and noise of ownership and having done it and been there. What I want to do is be able to relate to a owner on that same level, on a personal level, and Dean and I, we've shared a lot of emotional conversations, and but it's been good to get to know someone on that level, and I believe that when you do that, you get to understand what their vertical alignment is. What is it that's going to make them win? And I can be the one that sits down on the sideline and say, okay, Dina, you're going to have to do X, Y, and Z. But if she has no buy-in, and if I'm just the coach that's just saying, Dina, you got to do this, you got to do that, because we're going to do this process, she's going to be like, okay, whatever, and do her own thing. So I really believe, and it's just because coaches that have worked with me, is the earned respect across the table. I got to know some incredible coaches that worked with me. I knew them personally. I knew really their family and kind of the dynamics of what they take. That relationship is really important between a coach and an owner. And I believe that, and before even with coaches that I'm engaging now, some of the new ones in Texas and stuff. I don't want them to see me as just a coach. I want them to see me as a person, something that I can relate to them. And together and different, we share success, and both of us together are in the valley. We're celebrating when we're on top. So that's how I kind of started with Dina. And the other thing is, I know she's not the new kid on the block, but she's been around. She knows what is needed. And it's not like I can go up there and say, okay, Dina, get in the back seat. We're going to drive this bus, and we're going to put the pedal down. And there's many times that, I know, Dustin, you can relate to this, where we're like, man, I know what you've got. But it's like, I can show it to Dina, but I'd rather have a little bit more the why behind it and for her to buy into it. Now she's all in. She sees what she wants to do. It took her to really, and I have to say it, her moving to Florida, that kind of was like, wow, I got the burst of energy. And I think she loves Florida a lot because, get ready to step back. but it's like I see a different Dina than I did last fall, and so definitely someone who's energized. I think she's back to her beginnings as an owner, and that's exciting. And especially knowing what her future where she wants to be.
Yeah, it's exciting times. I can't say it enough. When you look at coaches, you got to be able to relate first, coach later, right? Mm-hmm. Anyone who comes in and just starts throwing out things they need to do without knowing, it's kind of like home care, though, right? We always teach it with new owners, when you're going into those referral sources for the very first time, like a rehab. Don't go in and assume you know all their problems and you got all the answers to their problems. You need to learn what their problems are by simply asking them, what are your problems right now? And then that gives you the ability to formulate how you can help solve those issues with that community. And that's the same thing with coaching, is you got to go in, hear them out. Now it's easier when they first start because they don't know what they don't know. And they're energetic. They're happy. They're excited. They're like, God, I'm going to listen to everything Dustin and Shane and Jennifer, everything they say. And then they go 6 months and they're like, oh, I got my own ideas. And then we got to reel them back in. And it's just relating though. It's just saying, all right, you're at a different stage now. What 6 months ago is a different coaching style than here. So us as coaches always got to be adaptable to the stages that you're in and not stick to a script. Now we like the EOS model. We like doing that because it gives us the vision. That's why it's important. And you said it, Dina, earlier, is your goals are your goals. There's a lot of owners. There's a sweet spot in home care. I always say about 1 million to 1.5 million. Things start coasting, and that's why you plateau, right? You lose clients, but you're bringing enough in that you never take big hits anymore. You might go to 900, you might go to 1 million, 1.2, back down to 900 to 1.1 to 1.3. But you usually have 3 or 4 employees that can manage all that, and the owner can go on their vacation. And it's very easy to just sit there and coast and make a pretty good living doing it, because once you get to 2 million and 3 million again, you're working just as hard as you were at the beginning, but you're working hard because now you got a new level of staff you got to manage that. And then you get that in place. And now you're 2 to 3 million is coasting. You can ask Natalie, like 3 million, she worked harder than she did, I think, at like 2,000. But today she has a great team in place. And that team she's going to Columbia next week for a week, has no worries about her team. And so it's just always, and it always comes back to your org chart. Yeah. Like that's the biggest thing, is you got to have the right people to do it. And what's I think the most stressful thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, both of you guys actually, the most stressful thing for an owner at that $1 to $2 million spot is more internal office turnover than external caregiver turnover, because hiring a new scheduler when you're managing $1.5 million is a pain in the rear, because the last one was managing everything. And so now the new one comes in and you're like, crap, I have to train this person, yet now I have to step back in for a long period of time until unless you find someone who's experienced in WellSky and experienced in scheduling, right? But sometimes you hire a new person who just wants to get into the industry and you're like, all right, well, here's $1 million worth of business, which is usually 25 to 35 clients, with schedules that are all over the place, with diagnoses that are all over the place, with personalities that are all over the place, the family dynamics that are all over the place. And now you got to learn all this really fast because I need you to take it over. And it gets really hard for that person to stay above water. And that's why I feel you just got to have that right team and build that and and Shane would agree, be ahead of it before it's too late. And what I mean by that is hire before. It's one other thing a lot of owners do is they want to be cheap, and I get it 100%. I was the same way. But you got to look at this as a reinvestment in the business. Hire someone before you get to $1 million as a full-time scheduler so that when they grow to $1 million, they have everything in place. They have their systems down and they know what they're doing. Because then you can bring on a secondary scheduler at some point, and then it's not that hard because if you do lose one of them, you still have the other one who can kind of pick up the slack as you bring somebody in. And that's at that $2 million point is when you have multiple schedulers in there. And then it becomes easier, but it's hard to get there. Yeah. So
you're virtually benching that role as the future placement, so you know where you need to get at. So like, let's use the example of a scheduler, and we'd love to hire from internally. So if we found the right caregiver to promote up to be a scheduler, and then we bring them in the office and they start doing different things in the office, start learning it. And then as you're getting closer and closer to onboarding them, that's where that ramp really goes from virtual. Now we're going to put them in for training and get that learning. And then it's an easy transition instead of just this, because once you're behind the 8 ball, you're chasing it and you're always going to stay in front of it.
Like Fatima, high grower. Fast performer.
She's my idol.
Drowned for a little while.
Well,
I'd have to call her every day. Are you stressed? Yes. All right. What are we doing?
Good. Her numbers are insane. I don't know if I don't know what you guys keep track of so much different stuff, but I don't know if you keep track of like how quickly you get to that level. But there's got to be some kind of record there. I don't know how she got to those numbers that quickly. No wonder she was stressed. Yeah. My God.
She's right up there with Jessica and Britt, and her, I would say, were the fastest growing right out of the gate. And all of them. Actually, Britt, though, did it a different. Jessica, I would say Jessica managed it pretty well, and then she hit $1 million. She's listening here. I've seen her comment. And she kind of it didn't fall real behind the 8 ball, but she didn't have the right people in the right seats. And now she's got that. And so now she's ready to take that next level. Britt, he hired 2 people before he even opened. Like he was preparing for $1 million before. And that's a big pill to swallow right out of the gate. But it worked. And that's the thing is he had infrastructure so he can keep marketing. And that's with home care agencies. And Dina, you did this, and Shane, you've done this. It's easy as a one-man band to probably get to $25,000 to $30,000 a month in revenue. After that, it's really, really hard. Yeah. And so always, I would say 10 to 15,000. I would like everyone to have one person right out of the gate, but we say at about 100 billable hours a week is when you got to have that scheduler, utility player in your office going.
Yeah, a lot of it is you identify the area that you need, because if you don't have a strong marketing background, that's going to be the gate you need to fill right off the bat. Or let's say you're not strong in operations. Not every owner that comes in loves to be part of the back office. There's a lot of couples that are in the industry, and so one of them is really good at doing the back office, the scheduling, the recruiting, the books, and maybe the husband is out doing the marketing, and that works out really well. But if it's like Dina, if it's just her, she's doing everything. Like she's doing the scheduling, she's doing the recruiting, the scheduling, recruiting, marketing, and so you're wearing all the hats, and a few times you have to be a caregiver. And so it's like, but that's where planning for the future, and that's where with my engagement, a lot of new owners today is we want to plan for what that's going to present. So we had a great interview today with someone who's going to be possibly the next marketer up in Maryland. And so looking at what we can do and staying ahead of that. And Dana's doing a good job with that now.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Absolutely. And conventions coming up. We'll close out with this. What's the number one thing you're excited about at convention this year, 2025?
Oh, man. Well, I don't know what it's about yet, but I mean, I've had the best time at convention every single time. So I'm just like, I'm excited for the mojo. Like, it's so much fun. But I'm also super excited to meet all the new owners because we went a year and a half this time since our last convention. So, there's a lot of new owners that we haven't met face to face. And, anyone that knows our company knows that like the way we support each other is the best thing about it. So I'm really looking forward to meeting all the new owners and putting names to faces. I'm so confused. I don't remember who's from where, so yeah, it's going to be really fun this year. What, it's out or something? It's mid-April 20th.
April 26th. Have you got your room? Better get your room.
I asked Danny if I wasn't the first person to book a room.
All right, because we had to request more. That's how big it got. So
I'm surprised we can still fit.
That's a big
I don't think by the next one you're gonna have to find a different city.
We'll just go to the convention center.
We'll just go. Yeah, there's a good convention center out in Gretna by Cabela's, so we can all go there, go buy some guns and fishing stuff afterwards. You're in the Midwest. Oh my God. That's what we do.
Why don't we all go to Florida? I think everyone would be into that. I think no owners would complain about having convention in Florida.
And until I send them all the bills for my flights for my staff.
Oh, we're live here. Don't get me going about you and your wallet and how infrequently it comes out.
My wallet is pretty much available. Always willing to invest. I invested in Shane. Look at that.
I know. It was a great move.
It was. And that's we're very excited. Big year for us. And just when you were talking about convention, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, and I need to change the subject right now. Austin, Texas was the last. Stacy and Brian were the last location that we signed before
the last convention.
And then now we have 25 new locations since last convention.
Since then, that's like double.
A lot of new owners coming. They're excited.
Yeah.
They're excited.
That's literally like doubling in size for sure.
Yeah, it'll be a couple. I'm anticipating probably 100 plus. So
yeah,
tear up downtown. Now I'm more worried. Like, okay, no everyone behave themselves.
Oh, what fun would that be? No plans to behave myself. What fun would that be?
I know. But we got a brand.
I'm just looking forward to a new pair of Nikes. Are there new Nikes on the radar this year?
And thank you everybody for joining Coach's Corner today. We're gonna let Dina go and catch her flight.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just saying the Nikes were a nice touch last time.
The Nikes were very nice, but it also, I think we were $40,000 over budget last time, so we had to buckle that down a little bit.
Well, our feet look great though. Oh,
they do.
Remember to pack them. Jeez,
you gotta pack them.
Should remind everybody to bring them too.
I will. Yes. Well, then the people who don't have them, yes, everyone needs to wear them for sure.
Or then you can just buy all new ones for everyone, so that we all have them on.
Yeah, I could. That's a good. I'll make it available. You know what? We should make it available on the store. I'll talk to marketing and put it on the trusty marketing request form, and hopefully it gets done here in the next couple of weeks. We'll make them available for pre-orders for all franchise owners to order and bring to convention.
That's a really good idea.
I know, and
right here on Coach's Corner.
Ashley's listening, and she's probably like, "Oh, darn it, Dustin."
That's all right. Like
what just happened? But hey,
sorry,
let's
Ashley.
do it. Pre-ordered shoes. Danny likes them. She's the one who designed them, so I'll just put that on Danny.
And how how was she like getting our shoe sizes out of us? She like totally tricked everyone into telling her their shoe size. It was really good.
Yeah, remember we did Shay, you never heard about that. We did we were doing like a scavenger hunt for vendors, I believe.
Something else.
Asked you guys 3 questions about yourself, One was your shoe size. We wanted 3 unique questions about every owner, and they had to answer them. One was their shoe size. That's how we got it.
Oh,
Yeah.
And
Everybody
then there was
answered
2.
it, right? 'Cause-
Everyone answered it, and then there was 2 other questions per owner, and then we gave those to the vendors, and then they had to go and meet and get their answers. But that's how we gauged all their shoe sizes.
oh, that's cool.
And then we showed up and everybody had the Nikes in their shoe size. It was awesome.
And in their room in a fresh Air Force One box.
Yeah, it was sweet. It was for sure.
We do know how to throw a good time, but
Convention's the best for sure. I can't wait.
so, well, Dean, I know you got to catch a flight. I appreciate it. Shane, appreciate it. Appreciate your time. And
Good to see you guys.
safe travels, and we'll see you in April.
Thank you. Yes, you will.
All right.
Thank
see
you so
guys.
much. This was fun.
Yep. See you guys.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Thank you.